What's up, Patriots Nation? Tell me something important. The performance of our interim GM, Elliott Wolf. After so many changes and restructurings in the team, especially with Bill Belichick's departure, Wolf has been stepping up and taking charge in the front office. He's running the draft, making moves on the roster, and already putting his stamp on the way the team is being shaped. I want to hear from you. What do you think of his work so far? Did you like the draft picks? The signings? Do you think he's got what it takes to lead the franchise rebuild? If you believe Elliott Wolf is going to help take our team to the next Super Bowl, drop this in the comments. GM Pats, I believe. There's a storm brewing in Foxborough, and it's not the kind you see on a cold, rainy Sunday in November. No, this one's brewing deep inside the walls of Gillette Stadium, and it's swirling around legacy, youth, and the bold decisions of a new regime. Patriots fans, buckle in, because this offseason has taken a sharp, unexpected turn that might just redefine everything we thought we knew about the current direction of the New England Patriots. Just days after the NFL draft, where New England made bold moves by selecting 11 new players and signing an additional 19 undrafted free agents, the Patriots made headlines for a completely different reason. A wave of roster cuts began, trimming down to the league maximum 90-man offseason roster. But this wasn't just the usual fringe depth shuffling. This time, familiar names, some with deep roots in the team's identity, were shown the door, and it's raising serious questions about the message head coach Mike Vrabel and executive Elliott Wolf are sending to the locker room and the fan base. The list starts off with relatively low-impact names: Marcus Harris, J.K. Jackson, and Titus Leo. Names that most fans might not blink twice at. But then came the real gut punch. Jake Andrews, yes, that Jake Andrews, the center who admirably filled in last season due to David Andrews' injury, was cut, despite his versatility and value. A move that signaled this wasn't just about trimming fat. This was strategic. But it's what came next that sent shockwaves through Patriots Nation. Joe Cardona, gone. Let that settle in for a second. Joe Cardona, longtime Patriot, long snapper, Super Bowl champion, and most recently, a team captain in 2024, is no longer on the roster. And with his release, an era officially ends. He was the last remaining member of the Patriots Super Bowl core. Dietrich Wise Jr., gone. Jonathan Jones, gone. David Andrews, gone. And now, Cardona joins them, ending a remarkable 10-season run with the team. This wasn't just a cap move. This was symbolic. The Patriots didn't just let go of a reliable specialist. They let go of one of the final pieces of a dynasty. One of the last remaining players who had suited up alongside Tom Brady. And the writing may have been on the wall when New England became the only team in the league to draft a long snapper, Julian Ashby, in the 7th round. Long snappers typically go undrafted. They're often signed quietly, stashed on the practice squad. But not this time. This move was loud, purposeful. The Patriots front office is clearly sending a message. The rebuild is real, and it's happening fast. And it's not stopping at special teams. The center position is heating up with a looming battle between Garrett Bradbury, a veteran signed in free agency, and rookie Jarrod Wilson, a 3rd-round pick. Ben Brown, who worked with Drake Maye after being brought over from the Raiders practice squad, also adds depth to the conversation. And let's not forget Cole Strange, who's capable of playing both guard and center, quietly lurking as a wild card in this positional chess match. But the most dramatic clash may be brewing in the wide receiver room. Currently, the Patriots have 9 receivers on the 90-man roster. Clearly, that number won't hold. And with recent acquisitions, namely Kyle Williams and the ever-polarizing Stephon Diggs, the pressure is on. J.K. Jackson has already been cut, and the pecking order is far from solidified. Right now, Williams and Douglas seem to be the locks for the WR1 and slot roles, respectively. But that leaves players like Kendrick Bourne, Matt Hollins, Keyshawn Bout, Javon Baker, and Jalen Polk battling for just a few roster spots. And here's the twist. One of the newest names might be one of the first out. Matt Hollins, signed recently in free agency and known for his eccentric barefoot lifestyle and all-in football mentality, could be on the chopping block. Despite his locker room appeal and versatility, the sheer influx of younger talent may push him out. If Jalen Polk shows up strong in camp, or if Bout or Baker take a step forward, Hollins could find himself out of a job before September rolls around. And he's not the only veteran whose spot is in jeopardy. Jabril Peppers, once seen as a leader in the secondary and signed through 2027, has quietly slipped into the background. After losing his captaincy due to undisclosed off-field issues, even though the charges were ultimately dropped, Peppers is now facing a fierce youth movement. Kyle Duggar, despite coming off ankle surgery, remains a cornerstone. Behind them, promising newcomers like Craig Woodson and Jalen Hawkins are lurking, ready to prove their worth. And then there's Marte Mapu, whose development alongside Christian Gonzalez has drawn rave reviews internally. So what happens if Woodson dominates camp? What if Hawkins cements his place? What happens to Peppers? At 30 years old, with baggage and a large contract, he may become the next big name sacrificed on the altar of youth and long-term vision. And then there's Kendrick Bourne. This one stings for a different reason. Bourne, the second oldest receiver on the team behind Diggs, is signed through 2026 and returning from injury. He didn't have the breakout season many hoped for in 2024, but then again, who did under Alex Van Pelt's forgettable offensive leadership? Still, with Kyle Williams ascending and young guys like Baker and Polk still mysterious enough to spark intrigue, Bourne could be the odd man out. It's a classic battle between what we know and what could be. Even Chad Graff from The Athletic noted the uncertainty, highlighting that the real decision could come down to Bourne versus Polk. The Patriots won't carry more than 6 receivers. For seam locked in, that leaves Bourne and Polk likely battling for the final spot. And if Polk finally lives up to his self-proclaimed best hands in the NFL, Bourne may find himself looking for a new home. So where does that leave us? This isn't just another offseason for the Patriots. It's a philosophical shift. A hard, swift turn from the old to the new. Mike Vrabel and Elliott Wolf are making it clear. No one is safe, and nothing is sacred. Not even Super Bowl rings. Not even team captains. If you're not part of the future, you're part of the past. Now I've got to ask, because we know Patriots Nation has strong opinions. How do you feel about all this? Are these bold moves a sign of true vision or reckless abandon? Should guys like Joe Cardona and Kendrick Bourne still be in the building? Or is it time to let the kids take over? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who stays? Who goes? Who do you want to see catching passes from Drake Maye in week 1? And stick around, we're just getting started. Because the truth is, we're entering one of the most uncertain, yet potentially transformative seasons in recent Patriots memory. And whether you're a diehard optimist or a skeptical veteran of the Belichick era, you can feel it. This team is shifting gears. What's unfolding isn't just a rebuild. It's a reset of identity. Let's circle back to the quarterback room for a second, because it's another area where decisions made now could impact the franchise for years. Drake Maye, the young hopeful, is clearly in the spotlight. But don't overlook the curious situation surrounding the team's backup options. The Patriots were already flip-flopping between Jacoby Brissett and Maye early on, signaling some hesitation or maybe just strategic caution. But that inconsistency raises a question. Is the coaching staff truly ready to hand the keys over to Maye? Or are they still unsure? Jake Andrews, who had already developed chemistry with Maye, is gone. That's not just a depth decision, that's a disruption to continuity for your rookie QB. Instead, Ben Brown, who came off the Raiders practice squad, is now a likely backup center. And Garrett Bradbury, a more polished veteran, might be the one who ultimately wins the starting job. But let's not underestimate Jerod Wilson either. Drafted in the 3rd round, Wilson represents the forward-thinking, developmental mindset that's becoming a pattern in New England. And if he outperforms Bradbury in camp, well, don't be surprised if Vrabel pulls the trigger early. And while most of the spotlight shines on the offense and the quarterback carousel, the